Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join us weekly to get inspired by guests and their success stories. We often limit ourselves due to man made expectations regarding timelines or professional expectations. So, to follow the journey of someone who lets go of such expectations and follows passions is a breath of fresh air in a world where everybody gets stuck in a rat race. Today, our guest is defying all norms as an established medical doctor and a professional dancer. It's with pleasure I welcome to our show Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam. Hello, Tasha. It's nice to have you here.
Hi, Amitha. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here too.
I love how inner circles, I'm within the inner circles, and I know your, nickname, Tasha, but you're Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam. So let's start a little bit with your journey thus far with your growing up and education.
Okay, sure. So I was born in the UK, and I went to medical school at Leeds University. So I did my training there. I also did a BSc in pharmacology as well. I took a year out for that as well. So did a BSc in pharmacology, got my medical degree, and then moved back to London, did my training there, went into GP training, which in Canada is known as family medicine. So did all my exams, passed, worked for probably about 6 months in England, and then I moved to Canada. And then I'm working as a family physician now here in Whitby, Ontario. I've just, over the past 2 years, had my own clinic. So I've been running that, and it's, that's pretty much my medical journey.
Amazing. Now we have heard about people going through struggles as international medical graduates. What has your experience been thus far?
Okay. Because I was trained in the UK, Canada recognized my training. So every international student doctor has to do exams when they come to Canada. So we have to do what they call the MCCE Part 1 and Part 2 exams. There's another exam if your training is not recognized. So because my training was recognized, I found the transition easier. I had to do a supervised year. So I had to find a supervision. So find a family doctor who was willing to supervise me for a year while I was doing these exams. So I was working and studying at the same time. It definitely was a tough journey just because, we had kind of done all our exams when we were in medical school and then done the GP training. And then I had to come back and go back to things that I didn't study for like a good 8 years. So that was definitely a struggle. Also working and kind of balancing, trying to find time to study and work at the same time. But I do know that if your training is not recognized in Canada, then definitely getting jobs is a lot harder. So there is a lot of doctors here in Canada who don't have jobs right now because they've come from a country where their training is not recognized. And so, and I only found that out when I went for like a sort of a revision course for one of the exams. I met so many international doctors and they were telling me all their struggles. And so in that sense, I felt really lucky that my training was recognized and my transition was a little smoother compared to theirs. So yeah.
So it was a different kind of struggle for you. I mean, so you have enlightened us as to what the general struggles are for an international medical graduate. But you yourself, going back to studies, like you said, after an 8-year gap, that's, going back to the classroom, and especially when you already have the skills at a senior level. So it's hats off to you that, that didn't put you off. Like, what motivated you, kept you going? How was your family supportive or not supportive?
So most of my parents and my siblings are in Canada. I'm sorry, in England. My husband's in Canada. So they've all been really, really supportive and just can constantly motivate me. There were so many times when I would say to my husband, okay, that's it. If I don't pass this exam, I'm going back to England and you're coming with me. So he was pretty supportive and kind of helped me through it. And I found that these, like I said, these crash revision courses were helpful as well. And I also connected with a few doctors who were international as well. So we kind of studied together, formed study groups and helped each other out. So I think the struggle for me was just kind of when you come to a new country, even if medicine is global, there's different ways different countries do things. They have different protocols. The names of the medications are different. So sort of getting your head around that when you're used to a certain way, you have to change everything. I think that was definitely a challenge, but got through it. So
Well, hats off to you and kudos on your clinic of 2 years now in Whitby, Ontario, like you
thank
said.
you.
I have a question for you. With all the current crisis that's happening with the COVID-19 pandemic, how has your practice changed or not changed?
So it's changed quite a bit. I mean, the pandemic it was a shock to all of us. It's something new we have that worldwide haven't dealt with. So I think being at home, having patients quarantine and social distancing has been a real struggle. And in terms of our practice, we've been changing our medicine into virtual medicine. So we've been doing telephone consults, video consults instead of seeing patients face to face, and just kind of only seeing the essential patients, so patients who are really sick, children who need immunizations, pregnant women. So just the patients who need to be seen urgently, we've been calling in because one, we have to protect our patients, but we also have to protect ourselves and our staff as well. There was an issue with shortage of personal protective equipment, and that's things like our mask, our face shield, gloves and things like that, just to protect ourselves. Hand sanitizers, that was short for a while as well. So that, I think, going to virtual medicine was a challenge for many of us. For me in particular, just not being able to see my patient, trying to figure out what the diagnosis is, how am I going to manage this without calling them, that was definitely challenging. But I also learned that there actually is a lot of things you can deal with over the phone instead of bringing them in. I think the patients initially were really anxious, but they were also grateful that at least someone's contacting them through the phone and someone's checking up on them, because I think their main worry was, am I going to get my prescriptions? Is the doctor going to call me? Are they going to follow up with me? So I think they feel reassured in that sense. But it's been, I mean, since March, we've been on this in this pandemic, and I think people are now starting to feel like, okay, when is things going to go back to normal? So yeah, that's how things have changed. But, it's still been running smoothly, thankfully. And I've had good staff as well who have been supporting me as well. So yeah.
So that's great. So it's kind of like a new norm for everybody, and including yourself. But thank you for keeping the services going despite the pandemic, and having patients being able to come to you for whatever their concerns are.
Yeah.
So this is great. So we have heard about Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam's journey as a physician, but now we know that there's the Tharsha who is also a professional dancer, and that is so amazing that despite all the amount of stuff you have on your plate as a physician, you're still making time for your passion. So we're going to find out more, but before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to a medical doctor who is also a professional dancer. Let's go back to Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam. So now tell us a little bit about your journey as a dancer. Where did it all start?
So I started dancing at the age of 3. My family, my parents are really into the arts, and they love Bharatanatyam, which is an Indian classical dance form. My older sister, Anusha, she's a dancer as well and a dance teacher. So I kind of was watching her dance journey as a little girl. She was basically in front of me dancing all the time. So I kind of followed in her footsteps and showed that I was keen in dancing as well as at a little age. And so I started my Bharatanatyam training under my dance teacher in the UK. Her name is Padmini Gunasilan, and I trained with her for a good, I would say, probably about good 15 years I trained with her. At the age of 13, I did my Bharatanatyam Arangetram, which is when you graduate in dancing. So you've accomplished all the levels. and then you do this big performance. You invite people to come. So I had 1,000 people at my Arangetram watching me, and you had to do a repertoire of 9 different dances. So the whole graduation, I was dancing for about 2 hours, and it was a solo performance. And then I got my graduation. Then I graduated at the end of it. So that was definitely a rewarding moment in my life, which I probably won't forget. I had a live orchestra as well while I was performing. So that was an amazing opportunity that my parents provided for me. So after that, I carried on with dancing for a while, and then I went to university. Even though I was trained in Bharatanatyam, I always had an interest in other styles of dance. So I really enjoyed Bollywood and hip hop and contemporary dancing as well. I never trained in any of those styles. It was just something that you'd see in the movies, or you'd watch on, music, R&B music videos, and be like, oh, that's really cool. I think I could do that. So I just kind of watched videos, and I would follow, like, at that time I'd follow people like Michael Jackson, Usher, Beyonce, and then obviously in the Indian world, Prabhudeva, he's a big film dancer, so I would follow him too and just kind of copy whatever he's doing. And then people sort of recognized that I guess people thought I was talented in it, so I carried on doing it. And then when I went to university and into medical school at Leeds University, I started up a dance show called the Bollywood Dance Show, and I recruited university students where we did like various styles of dancing, from Bharatanatyam, hip hop, contemporary, Bollywood. We used to do this big production annually. I would choreograph the whole show. I would teach them. I would perform, and that was usually my sort of getaway from medical school. When I wasn't studying, I was dancing. So that went on for a good couple of years as well. And then after that, when I actually started working as a doctor, I just found it really hard to kind of manage my time. I was helping my sister. She has a dance school called Shakti Fine Arts in the UK. And I was a teacher there as well. So I would train senior students. I trained about 12 students to do their Bharatanatyam Arangetram. So my time kind of went with that and went with medicine as well. So I actually stopped performing. And then I met my husband and moved to Canada. So again, I had to do the transition with the exam. So I stopped dancing. So I took an 8-year break from dancing. And then it was only last year, so January 2019, that I felt, okay, I need to get back into this. I love it so much. Why have I not danced for so many years? So I then connected with a dance school in Canada called Kalas Kalalia. And this is a school owned by Kala Master. She's a famous Tamil cinema dance choreographer. So she owns the school here, and I kind of met with her and connected with her. And she said, okay, well, why don't you join here and learn? And so they do different styles there, but I felt that I needed to kind of learn hip hop because I never actually learned it. I just kind of watched videos. So I connected with my teachers there. Their names are Bibin and Nitin, and they've been training me for the past year and a half, which has been great. So I've just seen a big improvement in my hip hop style. And whilst doing that, I just myself started refreshing in my Bharatanatyam and my Bollywood and contemporary. And I've been doing a lot of videos, and I got to collaborate with Kala Master as well and do a music video with her. To her one of her iconic choreographies to the film Chandramukhi, she did a song called Rara. It's a famous Tamil song. So I got to do that video with her, which seemed to be a good hit within the community. So it kind of also boosted my confidence as well, and just made me kind of carry on. So, and now I'm taking some more advanced hip hop training with another famous dancer in India called Ravi Verma. So this is my journey so far.
Oh, this is amazing. You're a true example of someone who is a lifelong learner. And I mean, you're using the motivation from within, it sounds like. It sounds like, yes, you do have your support, like you said. Family has supported you. You've been part of your sister's, dance academy, and here your husband is supporting you. But it feels like your inner passion is really driving you in every walk of your life, whether it be the medical doctor or the professional dancers. Are there days like where you are, thinking otherwise and feeling let down? And if those happen, what do you tell yourself? Because you have two amazing professions on your plate, and hats off to you for balancing it all. But how do you motivate yourself from within?
I definitely was feeling quite low before I started dancing last year because I knew that I had this talent and I felt I had wasted it. Even though, I mean, my career in medicine, I don't regret that at all. And I know that that was my path. I just felt like I could have managed my time better. I could have balanced things. I think that if you have a passion, you should never, ever let go of it. Doesn't matter what you're doing or what stage you're in your life, you should just continue it, especially if it makes you happy and if you enjoy it. So I was, in that sense, I just needed that initial push, like to get back into it. Even now, of course, there are days when I feel like, oh, my joints hurt today. I don't think I can dance, or I'm really tired from work and I just don't feel like doing anything. And then I'll feel like, oh, I just wasted all this time. I could have done a new choreography. I could have put another dance together or something. And you're going to have your bad days. And if you do have your bad days, that's okay. And that's what I've told myself. It's fine. Sometimes you do need to take a break and you need to rest and find something else to do. Because too much of anything is not good as well. So I always say, I try to keep myself a schedule during the week. So I would say, okay, here, 2 hours this day you're going to do some classical, 2 hours this day you're going to do hip hop. I've also got my lessons as well in between. All of this while balancing clinic as well. So I think that's the way to kind of keep yourself motivated. I just keep saying to myself, do it until you love it. If you stop loving it, then don't spend so much time on it. But right now I'm loving it, so I'll put in however much time I want to in it. So yeah.
That's so good to hear, especially like with your physician background. There's a discipline that comes from, being a physician through the years of training you've put in, plus what we just heard, you being a lifelong learner, able to push yourself. So it's great to hear that from a physician, giving that tip for everybody who is watching there, who is scared to follow their passions, because of whatever it may be, life has brought it to a halt, or, fear of not being able to make it somewhere. So it's great to hear that from you, Tharsha. So this is great. The journey has been great. And I mean, you're working with some amazing dance gurus, choreographers who you're learning from. And we do have a treat for the viewers. We'll be giving a glimpse of that video you just told us about in a bit. And we have to find out more. But for now, it's time for a shot. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to an inspirational role model, a medical doctor, and a professional dancer, Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam. So, Tharsha, as we lovingly call you, we have heard about your journey as a medical doctor. We have heard about your journey as a professional dancer, and we are amazed as how you're bringing the two worlds together. Tell us about your long-term vision as an artist.
As an artist, currently I've been focusing on just building myself as a performer, getting back my sort of stamina, my energy levels, and just building on my techniques as well. So growing as a dancer has been my goal currently. I think in the future I'd love to just continue to perform. I'd love to perform globally, sort of around the world, and work with different artists. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Different musicians, different dancers. I definitely am hoping to collaborate with many people in the future. And then, I mean, there's been a question about whether I wanted to start my own dance school here as well. At the moment, I don't see that happening currently, just because with medicine as well and having my own clinic, I just don't know where I would find the time to kind of do everything. But maybe in the future, I hope. That's definitely a long-term goal for me.
That's amazing. I mean, like we already heard, you're working with some top-notch gurus in the industry. I actually have a question for you, Kala Master. I mean, she is a household name, and I mean, she's awesome. How was it, working with her, learning from, her in person?
It was great. She's an amazing person. She was really friendly, very humble. Just very easy to talk to. when I spoke to her, I said, "Oh, my favorite choreography of yours is Rara, and I would love to learn that from you." So she was like, "Okay, just come for a class." And she was like, "Show me what you have." And I was so nervous that day. I was like, my hands were sweating, I was sweating, and I was like, "Oh my God, if I do this horrible, she's not going to want to teach me after this." But she was so impressed and she loved it. So she was like, "Okay, let's continue with this dance, and I want us to do a video together." So she has a lot of knowledge. She also does different styles of dance. Like she does classical, she does Kathak, she does sort of modern, contemporary as well. So I think learning from an artist, especially because I do different styles as well, I felt like we had a connection because we just like different styles of dance. We did, apart from Rara, we also did the Indian Raga Shape of You, which we did like a Bharatanatyam hip hop fusion to. So I really enjoyed that. I met someone who kind of connected with me on the same level. Of course, she has many more years of experience and she's a fantastic choreographer. So I think to kind of have that opportunity to learn from someone like that was amazing.
Amazing. Well, I have no doubt that you will, see through with your long-term vision because it sounds like everything you put your heart and mind to, you're achieving. So we can see you working with even more, artists around the globe and doing some amazing projects and even having that vision of your dance school in the future. For now, I wanted to regress from the topic for a bit. Like we were talking about how busy you are as a medical doctor and, continuing with your professional dancing. And you did tell us that dance is one of your stress busters. But when you're not doing either, what are you doing to relax?
What am I doing to relax? So obviously I spend time with friends and family. I have a lot of family in Canada, like cousins and friends, and my husband as well. So spend a lot of time. I love going out for walks and kind of going by the lake and relaxing that. And I also like singing as well. So I don't have much of a voice, but I enjoy singing. So I do spend some time singing. And of course, I love watching TV as well. I'm a TV addict. I've probably watched everything on Netflix. So yeah, that's usually the things that I enjoy doing.
Awesome. I mean, you are a person who is an all-rounder, meaning basically enjoying every phase of life, every facet of life, and putting out a great message out there that no matter what, always go after your passions because that definitely does make you happy and then you're able to achieve more. So it's really great talking to you today, Tharsha, and inspiring. Thank you so much for inspiring all of us today. I would request you to let our viewers know where we can find out more or follow you on your artistic journey.
So Instagram, my page is called tash.vara. So definitely follow me on Instagram. It's usually where I post all my dance videos and just all my dance journey is on there. So if you're interested, definitely follow me on that.
Great. Do you have any final words for our viewers, Tharsha?
Just that I just wanted to tell people that there is no age limit to following your passion. And especially if you're married or even if you have children, don't ever let that stop you from doing something that you love. And you have to always make time, even if it's just half an hour or 45 minutes in a week, just put that time out and you'll notice the difference, not just physically, I mean, just mentally as well. It's a stress relief. It helps with anxiety and depression. And so I really, really recommend don't give up on something if you love it.
Very well said. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam.
Thank you, Amitha. Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we wish you all the best in both your professions, and we'll continue to follow you. Take care.
Thank you.
So that was Dr. Tharsha Varathalingam, aka Tharsha, who is healing the world with her physician skills and with her artistic talent. Well, that's a wrap from the show on my end. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com. Until next week, this is Amitha signing off, leaving you with a visual treat from Tharsha.
లోన మరుగైన ఆనందరాగాలు వినిపించ నిలిచానురా.
తనన ధీం తధీం తధీం తన తనన ధీం తధీం తధీం తన తనన ధీం తధీం తధీం తన ధీం తన.
వయసు జాలమోపలేదురా మరులుగొన్న చిన్న దానిరా అనువు బాధ తీర్చరావెరా రావెరా. సల 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 రగిలిన పరువపు సొద ఇది తడిబుడి తడిబుడి తపనల స్వరమిది రా. ఏ బంధమో ఇది ఏ బంధమో ఏ జన్మ బంధాల సుమగంధమో.
ఏ స్వప్నము ఇది ఏ స్వప్నము నయనాల నడయాడు తొలి స్వప్నమో.
విరహపు వ్యథలను వినవా ఈ తడబడు తనువును కనవా.
మధువల మనసులు తెలిసి నీ వలపును మరచుట సులువా.
ఇది కనివిని ఎరుగని మనసుల కలయిక.
సరసకు పిలిచితి విరసము తగదిక.
జిగి బిగి జిగి బిగి సొగసుల మొరవిని
మిలమిల మగసిరి మెరుపులు మెరియగరా.
తాం తరగడ ధీం తరగడ తోం తరగడ నం తరగడ తత్త తరగడ దిత్తి తరగడ తోం తోం తరగడ నం నం తరగడ తా ధీ తోం నం ఛం ఛం తా ధీ తోం నం ఛం ఛం తక్కిట ధికిట తోకిట నక్కిట తగ తరగడ తగ తత్త తలాంగు తో తత్త తలాంగు తో తగ తలాంగు తో తలాంగు తగ జం తగ